All right, let's get right into it. We're going to uncover the real science behind building habits that actually stick. And it all starts with this one big idea. Seriously, what if it's not about being born with some special talent for self-control? Look, we're not just talking about a few productivity tips here. We're going to discover how your small, everyday habits are literally rewriting the code in your brain, building this kind of mental fortress that makes giving up, well, almost impossible. It's time to unlock what you're really capable of. Okay, so first things first, we have to tear down a huge myth. This idea that willpower is some kind of endless magic fountain we can just tap into whenever we want. Turns out the science tells a totally different story. Yeah, scientists actually have a name for this whole thing. It's called ego depletion. And it's the perfect explanation for why you can be a saint with your diet all day long, but then suddenly at 10 p.m., you're staring into the fridge wanting all the junk food. Here's the thing. You didn't fail, you ran out of gas. A really simple way to think about it, but it's super powerful, is to picture your willpower like your phone's battery. Every time you resist that donut or choose the salad or force yourself to focus on that boring spreadsheet, boom, that's another % of your battery drained. And you know exactly what happens when your phone hits zero, right? The main functions just stop working. So that begs the question, doesn't it? If our conscious self-control just flatlines, what takes over? I mean, our brain doesn't just switch off. Something else has to step in and run the show. And that something is the hidden engine that's quietly driving most of what we do every single day. Which brings us to your brain's amazing and, yeah, sometimes kind of problematic backup system. It's an engine that's built for one thing and one thing only: saving energy. So check this out. Some really cool research from the University of Southern California shows this split perfectly. When your willpower battery is fully charged, you have access to your whole regulatory toolbox. You can make new choices, you can stop bad impulses, you can think outside the box. But when that battery is low, your brain just defaults to automatic. It goes right back to your habits. And there's a name for this too. It's called the habit boost effect. When your brain gets tired, it just outsources the job to your existing habits. And here's the crucial part. It doesn't care if a habit is good, like going for a run, or bad, like mindlessly scrolling on your phone. It just runs the program it knows best. And let's be clear, this isn't your brain being lazy. No way. It's actually being incredibly efficient. It's like a big company shifting a simple, repetitive task from the CEO, that's your conscious prefrontal cortex, down to the automated assembly line in the factory. That's the basal ganglia. It just saves a ton of energy. So, okay, if our goal is to build a better autopilot, we've got to look at the user manual first, right? We need to understand the basic engineering of how any habit gets built. And you know what? It's a surprisingly simple and really powerful cycle. It's the simple 3-part loop that's running all the time, right in the background. First, there's a cue. Maybe it's your phone buzzing. That triggers a routine. You pick it up and check social media, which leads to a reward, a little hit of distraction or connection. Cue, routine, reward. That's it. Now, the secret sauce that makes this whole loop stick, the thing that makes it so powerful, is a little chemical in your brain called dopamine. When you get that reward, your brain releases a little bit of it, and that dopamine basically sends out a company-wide email that just says, hey, that felt good, let's definitely do that again. And the reason any of this is even possible is because of this incredible concept called neuroplasticity. What that means is your brain isn't this fixed, static thing. It's not hardwired from the day you're born. It can physically change. It can be rewired based on your actions. You can literally build new roads, new circuits in your brain for better habits. All right, so now that we know how habits get built from the ground up, let's talk strategy. Let's talk about a really powerful way to make huge changes with what feels like very little effort. It's all about finding that first domino. These are what author Charles Duhigg calls keystone habits. Think of them as small wins that just create this incredible ripple effect, setting off a chain reaction of other good behaviors, a lot of times without you even consciously trying. Exercise is the classic example, right? Writer James Clear talks about this all the time. He says when he makes sure to exercise, other good things just happen. He doesn't need to use a bunch of willpower to eat better or to focus on his work. The keystone habit of exercise makes those other good choices feel almost effortless, almost automatic. And that brings us to what might just be the most powerful, the most fundamental idea in all of this. It's a total shift in how we think about change. We're going to stop working from the outside in and start working from the inside out. You know, the problem with how most of us approach goals is that we start with the outcome. We focus on what we want to get.
I want to lose 20 pounds. But real, lasting change, that comes when we focus on our identity, on who we want to become.
Think about behavior change having 3 layers, kind of like an onion. On the very outside, you've got outcomes. That's what you get. In the middle, you have processes. That's what you do. But at the very core, the most important layer is your identity. That's what you believe about yourself. True change, the kind that sticks, starts from that core and works its way out. So the process is actually a pretty simple 2-step deal. First, you just decide what type of person you want to be. Not, I want to write a book, but I am a writer. And then step 2, you start proving it to yourself with small, manageable wins. You cast little votes for that new identity every single day.
And this idea, it just reframes everything. Suddenly, writing one paragraph isn't about finishing a chapter anymore. It's a vote for being a writer. Doing 5 push-ups isn't about getting a 6-pack. It's a vote for being the type of person who doesn't miss workouts. See? You're not just chasing a result anymore. You are actively becoming someone new.
So the real question, the one I want to leave you with, is this. Who do you want to become? Because answering that, that's the real first step to building a system of habits that makes willpower almost irrelevant. The person you are right now is just the sum of all your past votes. But the person you're going to be tomorrow, that depends entirely on the votes you decide to cast today.